Welcome back, artists! Today we are going to be working on drawing our letter for our illuminated letter and adding some patterns on our page. First thing I need to decide is what letter I'm going to use. All I ask is you pick one of your initials. So my name is Amber Thompson. I can pick an A for Amber or a T for Thompson, but it has to be one of my initials. When I draw my letter, it needs to fill in the whole space inside of the border, but my letter needs to touch the top and the bottom of my border, so it needs to be big and tall. So I'm gonna start with my A. I can write it like I normally would, like a capital A, or if I wanted to, I could add like some little curls on it just to make it a little fancier. Notice how it's touching the top and the bottom. Now my next step is to make my letter thick. It needs to have two edges to it, like a block letter or a bubble letter. If you want to make a block letter or a bubble letter, great. Otherwise, if you want to add some of those curlicues in there, fantastic. So I'm gonna start, I think down here actually, and I need to add a second edge. So I'm really just following the shape that I already made. And if I cross a line, well, that's why we've got erasers. But I also need to continue over this way because I only have one edge over here. So I'm gonna continue my line. And you know what? I think I'm gonna get a little skinnier as I go. Same on this side. And I also need to make sure I get my one in the middle. And then if I want, I can erase out these areas here. I probably should so that the lines on the inside don't show. And now I've got a nice thick letter. Next, I need to think about what patterns I'm going to add to my illuminated letter. I ask that you have at least 3. You could have more, but you can't have less. I'm going to ask that one of those patterns includes geometric shapes, and one of those patterns includes organic. So geometric shapes are anything that you would probably see in math class. Geometric shapes are easy to measure, and if you told someone, think of a circle, everyone would think of the exact same shape. Organic shapes are shapes that are harder to measure. A lot of the times they have curvy lines. If you told someone to imagine an organic shape, like say a leaf, everyone probably wouldn't think of the exact same thing. Or a cloud could be an organic shape. A lot of the time these shapes are found in nature. So you need to include one geometric pattern, one organic pattern, and then you can decide what the other one is, because remember, you need 3. I can put a pattern in my border, my background, my letter. I could do it up in the corners. I could do a couple in my border. It's really up to me as the artist, but I need at least 3. And remember, patterns are something that repeat. So if I'm going to be using something geometric, it has to repeat over and over and over because that's what a pattern is. So I could do maybe kind of a geometric like triangle type shape, which could also be like a zigzag line. And when I do my patterns, they need to fill up the whole space. So I see that my zigzag line is going and touching the edge of this long rectangle. I don't want a little line that kind of goes like this because it's not touching anything. It touches the bottom, but not the top. I'm gonna make sure it touches the top and the bottom. Now I can continue all the way around with the same pattern, or maybe I'm just gonna do it opposite and I could do a different pattern over here. Now, I think I'm actually going to make this even maybe a little more fancy. I might add some stripes inside of these triangles just to jazz it up. We are second graders, and second graders can make much more difficult patterns. So think about a second part that you could add to the pattern. I've got my triangles, but a two-part pattern, maybe I also add some stripes. Notice once again that my lines are touching edges. They're filling in the space. All right, now I need to think of a second pattern. And I think I'm gonna go with my organic pattern because remember I need one geometric, which has my triangle, and one organic. So organic usually have kind of some wavy lines. So I think I'm gonna fill in this space here with some wavy lines that I'm kind of thinking of like camouflage. That could be something like that. So I'm gonna start. And I'm just gonna have a wandering line. Making sure that as I go, I'm touching an edge and filling in the whole space. Maybe for my organic pattern, I want to add a leaf or something. Yours doesn't have to look like mine. You could do spirals. All right, there's two patterns. Now I need a third. I could add something up in my corners here. I think I want a leaf shape up in my corners, but once again, I could do a spiral. I could do a geometric pattern. What's gonna make yours unique and different and maybe even meaningful to you? Does something have a special meaning? All right, so I do have 3 patterns, but I think I also want one in the background here because I can always do more than 3. And I'm having fun with my patterns and I really want to make it funky and stand out. So I think I'm gonna add a pattern in the background. All right, now I am done. Last step will be to trace every single one of my lines with a Sharpie marker. That includes these straight lines for my border. I have to trace those.